Hi, Taurus. So once again, I had grand plans for dressing up. It's your energy. I'm wearing a onesie, actually. So, okay, Taurus, December. Your minds are wandering. That I know. A lot. Can't even control your energy. What is it? Are you lonely? Or do you feel like you missed out on something? Something's going on. Some sort of like regret-based energetic behavior. Ace of Cups. Came up sideways. We'll read it right side up. Ace of Cups. Yeah. So like you want the love. You feeling the love. Okay. All right. Next card. Seven of Wands. Feeling like you're overcoming your obstacles enough to even think about love, maybe? Perhaps love presented itself at a bad time, and you needed a little while to get clear on how it would fit into the rest of your life. Queen of Cups, if you were dealing with a water sign or a rising water sign, they're showing up pretty prominently. That's 2 cups now. Lots of love. Showing up as Queen of Cups is someone who's like being very supportive, someone who is there, someone who is nurturing, someone who is intuitive enough to understand you in your silent moments. Intuitive enough to understand you in your silent moments. Ace of Swords. So the High Priestess here, Major Arcana, talking to you about I want you to see the Major Arcana as the road signs that you see on a dark road. So there's roads out here that are fairly easy to navigate in the daytime. It's nothing. Those same roads at night have no lights, and they're quite precarious. And then all of a sudden, these road signs that you totally ignore during the day because, like, who cares? You know, you're on a country road, there's no one around. But then at night, when you, and this refers also to the dark night of the soul, when you are in the dark, then any illuminated sign, anything is like, oh, okay, that is a beacon, you know, for me. That's a point of reference for me. That's security for me. I know the road's going to turn really sharp this way because there are these reflectors now. So I want you to see these cards as the reflectors. So for you in the dark, this card showing up, shining a light, showing you the way, would be showing you the way to internal mastery. High Priestess always about finding the calm within oneself that is so calm, that is so aware of the duality that even the celestial bodies sit at her feet, because she is elevated past the seasons, past yes and no, past right and wrong, past the 0 and 1 of it all, right? Like, we're so binary in so many ways, and I think that's why she is flanked by the white and the black pillar, because it's to show that although she is still in corporal form and still is in a lot of ways beholden to the black and white of life, or the Tao of life, still somehow she has transcended it enough to have the moon at her feet. So to be in the world but not of the world. For Taurus, this is a pretty sensitive female energy, but I feel like you guys are sensitive and you are very sensual. To be the most sensual sign, you have to be sensitive. It only makes sense. But then on top of that, the High Priestess is someone who is really getting in touch with how they feel. So it makes sense with this Ace of Cups being the first card and the Seven of Wands coming up as your kind of victory perhaps over yourself and over your own shortcomings, something that we've been talking about for a few months now, right? Showing up, so shiny, showing up right as you feel this sense of material and emotional fulfillment, the fulfillment of your manifestations. Here comes this water sign, or someone who, again, don't get too stuck on that, like people have been saying in the other readings, but what if it's actually a fire sign? Okay, I don't mean that this person is definitely a water sign. I mean that they behave like a water sign. That's probably because of something in their chart, their rising or their moon, most probably their Venus. But it doesn't really matter. What matters is their behavior towards you. So what they'll be displaying towards you, what the behavior they'll be exhibiting towards you is one of real synchronicity with this Ace of Cups, but also a real synchronicity with how you're feeling. The emotional freedom, if you will, you're feeling. And the emotional freedom that Taurus feels only happens when the material world is making sense. So if your material world as a Taurus is starting to make sense, job-wise, money-wise, all of that, then Taurus starts to look around a little, I want to love somebody. Who's around? And then the Taurus mind starts to wander. And when the Taurus mind starts to wander, this is when this High Priestess energy really, really becomes guidance, but also gives you an idea of what kind of energy you'll be exemplifying this month. You'll be so tuned in and so hyper aware of how you feel, but also of how you want to feel. You'll begin now to have a new thought process. This is a card that just came up in the Scorpio reading as well. So fixed energies are going through something where, like a sword that's being unsheathed, something is just cutting through you guys and being like, listen, the arrogance, the stubbornness, the insecurity, the arrogance and the stubbornness can apply to Tauruses, but it doesn't this month, and it didn't last month either. It's more for you guys about the insecurity, the hypersensitivity, the wanting to close and back away. That there are things that there are encounters that you will have and conversations you'll have, people you will meet this month, which will bring that sword, that new understanding to you, just right to you. Now, you may not necessarily like their delivery, and you best believe this is me right now talking to you as well. You may not like the delivery of it, but that's not what really matters, because that's why this card comes up. It comes up, and if you're dealing with an air sign or an air rising, then again, this person is showing up very prominently. From the amount of women in this reading, I would say that this is a very Taurus male geared reading, but at the same time, I usually find that the Taurian readings are not gender based. Like, you guys, men and women, kind of behave the same, which is kind of cool. Sagittarius are like that too. So Queen of Swords energy coming in next to the Ace of Swords to be like, again, the symmetry here is great, right? Ace of Swords, Queen of Swords, Ace of Cups, Queen of Cups. So when I tell you that you're coming up on a high point in your life and a high point in the year right before, we dip into a new year, I mean it. The holiday season for you, going into January, going into the new year, you've got an enormous amount of support, emotional support, psychological support. And I would not be surprised if this starts to now also exhibit itself as more financial gain and more monetary support from the universe. I know that you guys are on an upswing in that way and that you're doing well, but I feel like moving into the new year, the energy just ramps up. Ace of Cups, Ace of Swords, this is just more indication of the universe wanting to give you, right? Queen of Cups, Queen of Swords is more of an indication of where the cards feel you're at and what could match you. It's a very good indication of how you're doing. Who is attracted to is always a good indication of who you are, right? So, or how you're presenting yourself, more importantly. And then Six of Cups. So again, synchronicity with the Ace of Cups and the Queen of Cups, lot of water energy, lot of love energy. Again, like I said, you guys are kind of starting to look around and go, did I actually miss out on that chance at love? Or did that person wait for me to get my shit together? Or am I going to have to find somebody new? But this is something that is either coming back around or something that is coming in for you that feels like it's coming back around. Someone you just feel so comfortable with. And in December, you will have the opportunity, However, you always have to remember when people say, oh, well, this didn't happen or that didn't happen. It's rare that they say it, but when they do say it, I'm always like, did you follow the rest of the steps? Or were you just, if we're not going to have the Ace of Swords energy, then this isn't happening for you, right? Like, if you want different results, you have to do things differently. If you want to do things differently, you have to think differently. If you want to think differently, you have to open your mind to the opinions of others and the thoughts of others. And that's a lot of what this is about. It's about mind expansion. It's about intellectual expansion, right? And then we've got the the 4 of Cups and the 9 of Cups. So even more water energy. We're going from the 4 of Cups to the 6 to the 9. So this already came up. Now, why these two? These being your outcome cards. Let me show you all these cards together. All right. So how do these outcome cards play out? How do they make sense? Let's see. Well, it is a dilemma for you. It's not a dilemma from the outside. It's pretty obvious which way you should go. But internally, it is a dilemma for you. It's not as easy as it is for a quick, Gemini to be like, well, obviously you want the 9 of Cups. Come on. Who wants to stay in the 4 of Cups? Obviously. But Taurus is like, no, excuse me. This is not so easy for me. It is definitely something to be thought out because I invest in things. And I invest and I put all of myself into it, and I have an enormous amount of patience when I'm invested in something. And that is certainly not a decision to be taken cavalierly, and it's certainly not feelings and actions that I'll be able to take back easily. So I really need this time because, how do I know if it's going to be something you invest in that bears fruit or if it's going to be something that I end up having to leave again? I'm not quite ready. I know you're saying all of this is there. I feel the cups. I feel the energy. But remember, the 4 of Cups are cups as well. You get to decide how much of this water love energy you actually want in your life. I think that's what this is saying. If you want to live in the past and in the regret of the 4 of Cups, then yes, the 6 of Swords makes sense. You will end up there. No matter how many different avenues you take, no matter how many different mazes you run through, Taurus, you will end up back here. Because your supposition from the beginning is wrong. It's flawed. Now, if you take the 9 of Cups approach, if you get out of this, lethargic, vacillating energy of I don't know, and you actually choose the more abundant option, sure, there is the risk. Of course, there is the risk that what you have planted will not bear fruit. I think that's not really what you're worried about, to be honest. I don't think this is a smokescreen. I think this is more fake hiding. I think what's actually worrying you guys is that. I think it scares the hell out of you. And if that's a Leo or a Gemini, Lord, you got lots to say to them. Everybody's getting told off. Why are the Geminis getting told off by everybody, though? That's what I want to know. What do we do? What do we do? Or you just feel like telling them. You just feel like telling them. The earth signs just really, really, really want their karma, and they want other people to get their karma this month. Really, really. And then look how I'm doing your extended. 6 of Wands. But the extended this month are going to be more like, for all of next year, kind of, we're going to be pulling cards, so I don't mind this at all. 6 of Wands also came up in the Scorpio reading. Another point where I feel the fixed signs are synchronizing, and that being that ultimately coming out of December, we do have a fresh sense of victory and being able to manifest what we want. And long term, we're looking at some very productive energy. I love it. This scares you. I'm coming back around. I'm not just going to leave it there. This scares you to death. We know that. That's why this whole charade is going on. And God knows how many of you who are watching because you love a Taurus or you like a Taurus, so many of you are stuck in this game with them, not realizing that they're playing this game with themselves. But what they really want is this, and they know it inside. You know it. You know it. And Taurus, now I'm talking to you, if you're dealing with a Leo or a Gemini, it's pretty clear, right? But let's also read these as the road signs that they are. So, in terms of guidance this month, you may find that, like a Leo, there are things that require enormous amounts of strength from you. And I think, especially this month, that will have everything to do not with holding your tongue, which is something we talk about a lot, Taurus, but instead using it. Don't be gross. I mean talking. Okay? What's the Lover's card trying to tell you? Well, you tell me. Six of Cups and the Lover's card. We've got Queens over here. We've got the Ace of Cups and the card of marriage right here. So it's pretty obvious that if we aren't dealing with a Gemini, or even if we are, that love is definitely in the air. Love is in the air in a very real way. And so is the vacillating and the bullshit and the back and forth. So if we want to stay in the back and forth, for sure, these options will disappear because it requires action on your part. That's where the Judgment card comes in. The Judgment card is saying, yes, the opportunities are there. Yes, they will be presented to you in a way that you will for sure know they are there. However, from that point on, it is your action and your truth telling of your specific emotional truth that will bring this thing to fruition and bring you here. Okay, which sets you off on a very productive, wonderful road. Depending on your ability to speak those truths, to be vulnerable enough, right? James Dean said to be gentle is to be the most strong. To be vulnerable and gentle enough to speak your truths. And I have a feeling your truths are, like that, what is that? That cake that's like chocolate, but then it's all goo inside. Of course I was thinking about food. Taurus, of course. Like that brownie that's like all gooey inside and you like bite into it, or like you use your spoon. It's like that molten chocolate cake or something. You guys are all goo inside, okay? Obviously. So what Major Arcana is saying now is, will you speak about your goo? Will you admit to the gooey center so we can continue? And what does it take to admit the gooey center? Strength and a respect for love and connection, which is rare. All right, Taurus. I so love you guys. Thank you for hanging out with me in my little house by the beach in Abeltoft in Denmark this time around. I will see you in January, and the extendeds this month will be a look at 2018. I love you. See you later.